What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and it is my favorite show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Season 3, Episode 12, The Inside Man. Based on that title alone, kind of did suspect something bad like this was going to happen. But they still handled it very well, and still had some good moments in this episode that really stood out, despite the fact that I was kind of like, yeah, I saw that coming. But I did kind of think that everybody's talking about, okay, who's the inside man in this, room of people? Who could it be? I'm just like, it's probably somebody that none of you are suspecting. It felt like they had suspected everyone, so I did kind of think, maybe it's not any of them. But I was waiting for one of them, like one of the people that were in the room. I was waiting for one of the main characters to be like, yeah, it couldn't possibly be them, and it was going to turn out it was them. But in the end, having Talbot be the inside man was kind of like, at first I was like, is this some sort of plan by Talbot to draw out what is? And then when Hunter finds no, actually, did that happen first? I can't remember. Anyway, whenever Malik shows up, I was just like, okay, I get it now. But yeah, aside from that, where it was a bit, I don't know, it felt like we've done this storyline before. From maybe not in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I've seen this storyline before where one character that you thought was your friend is being blackmailed to work against you. I've definitely seen that storyline before. So it wasn't exactly like, oh my gosh, Talbot, no! But at the same time, it was handled very well, because when we open with Talbot, you see his wife leaving, and you're just like, oh no, things are going wrong for him. And then you find out that Malik blackmails him by stealing his son, and you find out that's why it's like, okay, so now all of that makes sense. Everything that happened before, why he was being hostile towards Coulson, it all makes sense now. But the nice twist was that I thought Creel, whenever we found out that Talbot was being blackmailed to work with Malik, I was kind of like, oh, so Creel was sent there to make sure he did his job. But then he's like, no, I got my inside man too. And Creel shows up. I'm like, what? He's actually helping Talbot? Wait, what? So yeah, that was a nice twist where they could have just gone, oh yeah, Creel's working with, especially when they found out about Creel's blood, how it works as kind of a vaccine. I was just like, yeah, I can see where, Malik might use that to stop the Inhumans that are going to help Coulson. But anyway, so I was glad to see that they didn't go the typical route that they could have gone, or at least they didn't go the typical route the whole way. They did put in a nice twist. But other than that, the rest of the episode was really good. We got some good character moments between each other. Just pointing out the main few that I noticed. One was Daisy and Lincoln kind of clashing a little bit on this idea of this Creel's blood could be used as a vaccine for the people who maybe don't want to turn. They brought up Lash, which is a brilliant example. Yeah, maybe not everybody wants to become something like that. He couldn't control that. He has this unending thirst to destroy Inhumans. That's something that he probably wanted to avoid. So, you can see Lincoln's side, but at the same time, you can understand why Daisy doesn't see this as a good thing, because she's accepted her powers, she's using them to help people, and she doesn't really experience what Lincoln's experiencing, which is the difficulty to control her powers. She's found this inner peace that helps her control it. Whereas Lincoln, we find out later, at Afterlife, things were pretty easy for him. So it was easy to control his powers. It was easy to kind of remain peaceful. But as we saw in his fight with Creel earlier, in that stressful moment, he kind of loses control for a second. He almost killed Creel. And it took Coulson shouting through to him to finally get him to stop. So I mainly lean towards Lincoln just because Lash is the best example I can think of not everybody is going to want to be transformed. Some of them some of them can work out fine. Some of them can be used. They can use their powers for the greater good. But I can understand where some of them, like Lash, they don't want to experience that. So, but I do sympathize with Daisy, and it's not just because I have a major crush on her. So don't think that that's it. But yeah, so that was the one interesting part. Another one is between Hunter and May, because they've kind of had a shaky, like, I don't even want to call it a relationship because realistically they hardly ever talk, they hardly ever communicate. So they've had a very flaky acquaintanceship between the two of them. And in this one, you have another moment where Hunter is like really focused in on Creel because of the fact that he killed his two friends. And so he's like trying to focus on him, trying to make sure he's not doing anything wrong. And May comes in, she's like, "Hey, we have a meeting." And he's just like, "I'm watching him." And you kind of get this sense that, I don't know, like something is wrong there. And it kind of makes me wonder if they're going to kind of make them better friends as this season goes on. But I don't know. It seemed a little bit stressful between the two of them. It seemed like May didn't trust him, and he doesn't really like May. So I feel like that's going to become a thing later on where they're going to have to learn to work together. Another one is between Coulson and Talbot near the end. It's kind of funny because neither of them really like each other too much, but they're being forced to work together. But I think after what Coulson does in this episode, you can really see Talbot's like gratitude for what Coulson did, and it kind of makes him an even more valuable ally at this point, because before Talbot was kind of, yeah, I'm not really gonna help you. We're not partners. You're certainly not my boss. Blah blah blah. And now it's kind of like, you can imagine Talbot really wants to take down Hydra after what they did to his son. So, stop it. So yeah, that was very nice to see. The final moment I want to talk about as far as characters interacting is Ward and Malik. Don't really know how long that is going to last. It kind of feels like Ward is using Malik as means to an end. And whenever Malik's not there, he's kind of, making his own plans. So, I don't know. I feel like Malik is kind of a pawn in... It's not Ward anymore, but I'm just going to call him Ward for sake of understanding easier. It feels like Malik is a pawn in Ward's game as far as, what he's going to do, his plan to control the Inhumans. I think maybe he's trying to take over the world, possibly. That it seems to be where it's leaning, but I don't know. It feels like Malik is being used, and he thinks he's in control, but he's very clearly not. And I'm not sure what his little sand... It seems like his skin is turning to sand whenever he, like... I don't know if he controls Inhumans. I don't know if that's his thing, like he can take over them and make them obey him. But as we see at the end, like, they brought him 5 regular humans, and he feeds off of them, and that's how he restores himself. So, yeah, I don't know. He's pretty freaky right now. Even more freaky than whenever he was skin and bones. Which, by the way, very, very good makeup doing that, because he looked like... It made me think like a Walking Dead walker. Like, it was very... His ribs were showing, and his face was like drawn in. It was scary to look at. But now he's even more scary to look at, because he feeds on all those people and then does like the Terminator rise, like no clothes on, just stands up. And he's like drenched in this goo from, I guess, feeding on the people. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so that was another interesting point, is kind of seeing how Malik is trying to do one thing and Ward is telling these Inhumans to do something else. So that's it for character interaction. There are also a couple moments outside of that too to talk about. You've got crap. I forget the one thing. I'm gonna as soon as I remember it, I'm gonna come back to it. But you've got at the end Bobby and Hunter somehow sneaking onto Malik's plane. I wish they would have shown that. That would have been interesting. But anyway, they're hiding out in like the undercarriage of the plane as he's talking to one of the guys that suggested a sanctuary for the Inhumans. So likely next episode they're gonna find out that Ward is still alive, because no doubt they're gonna find a way to infiltrate the place, and I just really hope that neither of them die this season. I don't know, it feels like Hunter, it feels like he might bite it, at some point. I hate to say that because I really do enjoy their chemistry between him and Bobby, and I really do enjoy some of the jokes that Hunter makes, just because he's kind of the one of the group that just hates following orders, but he's still a part of the group for Bobby's sake, and so it does kind of take away from that aspect. I don't understand what she's doing. It's frustrating though. The other thing, I talked about Creel's blood and how it works as a vaccine for the Inhumans. It was kind of interesting seeing Fitz and Simmons together talking about Creel before they find out about the vaccine, because they're talking to him inside of that cage, and I don't know, it kind of feels like they're getting back, just like they said in the last episode, or like Simmons said in the last episode. It feels like they're kind of working back into the same old friendship that they used to have and going from there. I like that. It's good. They're handling it very well, and it's starting to feel like we have Fitzsimmons back, for now. So, yeah, that was fun to see. And obviously they find out about Creel's blood and need Lincoln's help to find out more about it. Yeah, I think that's about it for this episode. Going forward, though, I'm excited to see where they're going with this, where they're going with Ward's storyline, because now that he's being taken over by an Inhuman, it's kind of like he's not really Ward anymore. But a lot of good storylines developing. You got Talbot now and Creel helping out Coulson and S.H.I.E.L.D. You've got Malik getting these Inhumans together now, this sanctuary, because of the help that he's getting from these people. And I mean, you just got so much going on in S.H.I.E.L.D. in particular, as far as like little side missions and stuff. And I don't know, I'm excited to see where they're taking it. I'm excited to see pretty much more of what they have in store, as far as this season. What's going to be the end game going forward. And I'm sure we'll find out more of that in the next few weeks. So, yeah, it was a really good episode. Really, really enjoyed it. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. What did you not like about this episode? What do you want to see more of in this season? And yeah, I think that's about it. Leave a like and subscribe for more of this little face right here, and for more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I'll see you at the next review. Peace out.